So the Seek and Destroy update is out, and Fox 3 missiles have come along with it. And some of you might be having a hard time using them or avoiding them. So I'm here just to give a few quick tips for both. For using Fox 3 missiles at range, you want to fly high to give your missile better range due to less air restriction. And when firing a missile, you want to launch at a higher speed. Usually anything above Mach 1 will help, and fire at targets that are flying towards you. Both of these things will minimize the amount of time it takes for the missile to reach the target. Enemies that are at a higher altitude than you are a bigger threat, as their missiles will be faster, they'll be able to travel more distance, and they can shoot down on top of you. When your missile is in the air, you can tell it's actually locked onto the target when this circle on your radar screen disappears. Now, avoiding missiles starts once you get off the ground. First thing you want to be mindful of is what I call standoff, which is simply you want to maintain a reasonable distance from other aircraft. Not too far to where your missile has a low chance of hitting the target, but enough to where you have time to defend. Basically, you want to avoid crossing the MAR, or the minimal abort range. This is a range that at which if a missile is fired at you, you will not have time to avoid it. Another thing you can do is notch after firing a missile to reduce the enemy's missile's closure to you. This will give you more time to guide your missile while increasing the amount of time it takes for enemy's missile to reach you. And for defending a missile that's gone pitbull, meaning it's locked onto you, you want to turn away and go cold. Missiles only have a certain amount of energy they have left after their engine burns out, and flying away from them will cause them to lose too much speed before they can reach you. You also want to reduce altitude to bring the missile into thicker air, which will slow it down more. And while doing these things, you want to use chaff to try to decoy the missile. This can work for some missiles that don't have great seeker heads, but for missiles like an AMRAAM, that's not going to be as useful. When you get down to the deck, you can use mountains, hills, and buildings, etc. to try and break the missile's lock. If none of those are available, you can still try to use multipath to cause the missile to dive into the ground. However, this is still pretty dangerous to do, especially after the reduction of multipath, and I've actually seen a lot of people hit the deck and crash when trying to do this. One thing I like to do is that once a missile has gone pitbull on me, I'll fire a missile at the shooter to try and send them defensive, essentially stopping them from continuing to push me while I'm trying to defend their missile. After all that, once a missile is gone or hasn't hit you, you can turn around and recommit. Hopefully these tips help you out a little bit, and happy hunting.